Welcome to Psychic Social, brought to you by psychic.co.uk.
On this episode of Psychic Social.
We're kind of down here to learn lessons. My belief is that, for those of us that decide to come back time and time again, it's because we want to experience or learn some other lessons.
Welcome to Psychic Social with me, Oliver Duke, the podcast that explores all things from the psychic and spiritual perspectives, including interviews with famous psychic practitioners, discussions about the afterlife, the paranormal, and much more. So relax and enjoy the show. Today's guest has been an intuitive psychic tarot reader for nearly 30 years. She owns and operates Shining Star Holistics, where she provides intuitive psychic readings in person or over video call. Through her website, she also offers tarot or angel parties, online spiritual workshops, spiritual life coaching sessions, and holistic therapies. Shining Star Holistics has been providing these wonderful services for nearly a decade. So let's hear more about all of this with today's guest, Julia Starr. Hi Julia, and welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm really good, thank you, Oliver, and thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you on Psychic Social here today. What have you been up to today? Anything exciting?
Not a great deal this morning, just been trying to get on top of some email readings that people have booked in the week, because I like to get them out within 2 to 3 working days so people aren't hanging around. And just a bit of admin, and then talking to you. Sounds
good. Great. Well, how many sort of email readings do you get? Or do you get them on a daily basis, or are they kind of?
It's normally about 3 to 5 a week. Sometimes if I do a special deal, obviously they all come flooding in one day.
Right, okay.
The thing is, in this job, well, it's not really a job, is it? No 2 weeks are ever the same. No day is ever the same.
I can imagine that, yeah. Okay, well, our first question to you, so we'll kick off the show, is we wanted you to kind of go back to the beginning and how it all started for you in terms of becoming a psychic. Was it something that was passed down to you? Was there a family member involved? Or was it something that you found yourself?
Initially, I would say it was something that I found myself. I realised as quite a young child, I was experiencing lots of deja vu moments. Now, I know a lot of people have those, but it sort of intrigued me. And then that kind of led on to understanding a bit more about the zodiac signs. I'm a Sagittarius, so I love to learn. And I guess I probably bought my first tarot deck I think it must have been my late teens. So probably 19, 20, something like that. I know I'd left home at that point.
And which deck did you buy, just out of interest? Was it a standard one, or?
I think it was a pretty standard Rider-Waite.
Right.
I've probably still got it somewhere.
Right, okay.
But it was a case of, looking at the pictures, reading the book that actually came with it. So it really was self-taught until many years later, when I just realised that life had been at a massive crossroads. And I just decided to take it further, I guess. I guess my calling really happened, probably about 2008, 2009.
Right.
It almost sort of came back. The cards were always there, but I was 30 when I had my children. I've got 17-year-old twins. So life got a bit busy. Right,
I see. Okay. And were you doing, when you first started learning the cards, at what point did you start giving readings, or were you not doing them at all? Or how did that work?
I wasn't doing them at all. When as a teenager, it was just me, didn't really discuss it with anybody, family, friends. I was kind of like the bedroom tarot person. But when I came back to it later on, I still struggled with a lot of the images that come with the typical tarot deck. And obviously at this point in time, I think I joined Facebook in 2008, 2009. I felt drawn to a particular deck called the Faulkner Tarot, which is a black and white deck that shows real people and real life situations. And this really grasped my attention. I felt drawn into the cards. I remember receiving them, and the energy that I got was absolutely amazing. So this kind of led to, checking out this person on Facebook who created the deck, Rhiannon Faulkner. And I think within a very short period of time, she was advertising a one-day introduction. And I decided to go for it. I mean, for me, this was very out of character. I don't drive the motorways particularly well. I don't go to places I don't know. But I drove from my hometown in Kent all the way down to Andover. So it was about a 3-hour journey. And I guess for me, that day really opened up a lot more for me. I felt like I belonged, which it kind of led on to, although I knew tarot, I knew a lot of the key words, these images were really speaking to me. So I decided to invest in the 12-week course, which I did with a lovely lady. And a year after that, I actually became a Faulkner Tarot trainer.
Right, okay.
And, the rest is history. It's kind of developed into the healing modalities along the way.
Right. Doing
more and more courses, Reiki, crystal healing. I have a love for astrology, numerology, moon energy, anything and everything that I can get my hands onto.
Right, okay.
I'm drawn in to find out more.
Okay. Can you sort of roll back a little bit and kind of explain to people listening what are the fundamental differences between the Faulkner tarot cards and, say, Rider-Waite, for instance? Is it just the images, or how is it? Are there any more differences than that, or how does it? What's in that?
No, it's both decks are going to have your 78 cards.
Right.
And for me, I'm a very modern girl. Whenever I did my art GCSE at school, it was always abstract. It was simple things that stood out. So with the Faulkner Tarot deck, because it has got these very clear images of everyday life, you kind of can relate it. And I found, since I've been using the deck now for 10 years, my clients can relate to it. And a lot of them, and even some of my students, they've had the Rider-Waite and other Rider-Waite inspired decks, but they all say the same, because you can understand, what that person is going through, say in the Five of Wands, where it's almost like holding his head, banging it on the table, frustrations. But yet in the Rider-Waite, to me, they are very traditional, and I'm not going to take that away, because I know there's a lot of readers out there that do like the traditional. But for me, I think the one thing that really stood out was the court card. So in the tarot deck, for your listeners, is into two sections, the major arcana and the minor arcana. In the minor arcana, so it's a bit like a normal deck of cards, you've got ace all the way through to 10. But you then have the court cards, the page, the knight, the king and the queen. And they would be dressed in the attire that you would expect in days gone by that kings and queens would be dressed in. But when you look at the Faulkner Tarot, you've got very normal people. So my card, the Queen of Wands, which is the fire sign energies of Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, shows a woman sat at the kitchen table, the laptop's on, she's on the phone, she's got a child standing next to her waiting to show homework, and another child maybe doing reading to her. So it just shows that real multitasking energy that comes with the Queen of Wands.
Okay.
So for me, that is it in a nutshell. It's just being able to see those real situations, because they are relatable. And with tarot, it's all about the storytelling.
Sure.
So when you get 2 or 3 cards in a row, you start to see the story play out. And that, I feel, from my own personal experience and the feedback I get, is what the clients want to see.
And it sort of, by the sounds of it, brings the whole experience more into the sort of 21st century, and like you say, it becomes more relatable, because they're not looking at a card which, the Rider-Waite stuff, some of it looks like sort of from medieval times, with the attire that people are wearing and things like that.
It does. And, this is a really weird thing for me because going back to my early 20s, I was sort of very much into King Arthur, the Mist of Avalon, dragon stories and things like this. But still, that tarot deck did not speak to me.
Right. Okay.
So it was only when I discovered the Faulkner Tarot that I just felt, actually, this is something I want to take further. Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad I did. It's opened so many amazing doors and opportunities for me.
Well, it sounds great, and it sounds like it was a great trigger for you to sort of move you forwards in tarot reading.
Definitely. Yeah. It was almost like, I think, when I was going through my 20s, I think my own ambition in life was to be a mum. I'd worked with children since I was 15. It was like, I want to go down that road and that's it. I don't want a career. Or a purpose. But actually, when I saw these cards on Facebook and I immediately ordered them from Amazon, it was kind of like something lit up in me again.
That's
and I
fantastic,
know it's something that I've got various decks, but I've also got lots of brand new Faulkner Tarot decks just in case.
Right, I see. Okay. And kind of when you're doing it, so you're using the Faulkner Tarot deck, and when you're doing readings, how does this work for you? Are you, I think we kind of always ask, all our guests, how are they sort of channeling their energies and from spirit or things like that? Are they having clairaudiently or clairsentiently, or are they seeing auras and things? How does it work with you when you do a tarot reading with the Faulkner Tarot card deck, and what are you experiencing to transmit this to the person?
With me, it's very much that my guides come in.
Right.
I tend to have different guides because I do the healing as well. So it's almost like the right guides will step forwards.
Right. Okay.
I do get a lot of the clairsentience, which is the feeling, the emotion. Mm-hmm. And, my guides tend to show me very simple objects in my mind. I know a lot of readers or psychics will talk about the TV screen. They can see things playing out. But for me, and I think this goes back to my 20 plus years in childcare, I get the symbols. Right. Okay. And it's almost like I've got my guides, and we've got our own like symbol dictionary.
Right.
So, if I see a ladder or if I see a star in my mind, I know what that is going to be interpreted at. And I'm a strong believer that when I work with my guides, one of our catchphrases when we teach this particular tarot deck is say what you see. So it's a little bit like catchphrase. Mm-hmm. And I can look at the same card, 5 times a week. And, my guides will make me aware of something else that I need to see, something that I may have never seen before.
Right, okay.
And this is something that has happened to the creator of the deck. It's happened to my students. It's almost like, the cards are evolving with us. And when we're meant to see something for the right client, then we see it.
And how did you, were your guides always with you? I take it you're obviously firmly a spirit medium. Is that right in saying that?
I would probably say I'm more psychic.
Right, okay.
With the mediumship, that's very much sort of connecting to the loved ones.
Right.
And yes, there have been many occasions when I've done this, whether it's with a client or a workshop I've gone on. But again, it doesn't take over. For me, and, Nikki will tell me off for saying this. Mm-hmm. She's always said to me, you don't need your cards.
Right, okay.
The cards, I guess, they're like my security blanket.
Right.
And
that's so just to say, that's Nikki Allen. You're
yes,
friends with Nikki Allen, who's been on the podcast before. Yeah, just for the listeners. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
So very much it's the clairsentience, the feeling. Sometimes the claircognizance comes out, that sense of just knowing.
Right. Okay.
Which is weird because you can be talking about something and it's maybe you might come out with a phrase or knowledge on something that actually, when I'm sort of closed down with my chakras and I'm not working, that kind of stuff would not come out of my mouth.
Right, okay.
So it's kind of like, for me, the guide that I'm working with, my guides, they take over, and I never know how they are going to work with me from one reading to the next.
Right, okay.
Sometimes they give me songs or nursery rhymes. It's crazy.
Really? Right, okay. That's very interesting. Right, okay. Well, that's all very interesting stuff to hear about that, and how you kind of are using that deck and utilising that deck, and how your guides are involved as well. My next question to you was going to be, were there any sort of heartwarming stories that stood out for you from any of your sort of tarot card readings you've done in the time that you've been doing this?
They've been so many, but there's a couple actually that really come to my mind straight away. On social media, I used to do a lot of daily guidance with Facebook Lives, just for everybody. And there had been this American lady that I think had followed me for about a year, because I think sometimes you find that people follow you, they want to get to know you before they approach you for a paid reading. And she actually booked a reading for her husband. He had a work situation, and he was very much the skeptic. So we were talking to each other via video on Messenger, and it was only a 15-minute reading they paid for. So I kind of did the work reading, and he's like, yes, that was in my mind. Okay, I now know what I need to do with this. But he was actually completely blown away by it. Having it been his very first experience, obviously his wife is quite spiritual, but actually to be pushed into it, and again, using, I don't want to keep going on about the Fortnite Tarot, but seeing those images, because I always show my clients the cards, even if it's an online session, he was just blown away. And the one thing that really did make him emotional, we were just finishing up, and I just happened to say, and again, this is the claircognizance I feel coming in, although it could be a bit of the mediumship as well. I instantly had to say to him, who's Raymond? And, it's a very unique name. And it actually related back to his brother, who was sadly no longer with us.
Oh, really? Right.
And again, I think we were both so emotionally overwhelmed. One, because he was a skeptic. I've just given him a 15-minute reading to give him some action steps and, where we're going to be heading with work. And I think it was about leaving the job and actually doing something self-employed. But then to finish by saying, I've just got to say this, who's Raymond? That just blew him away, 100%, tears and everything.
Right, wow. Okay.
And it just touches my heart that spirit can work in such a way, because at the end of the day, we are only the messengers. But, yes, it was a bit emotional, but for me, it was, just seeing that's almost change from skeptic to believer.
And it's always good when that happens, isn't it? When people don't believe and then suddenly, they experience something like that through a psychic reading, and their concept and beliefs are almost changed immediately, aren't they?
Definitely. I mean, certainly over the last 10 years, I've probably read for about maybe 10, 15 husbands where they've been pushed by the wives to get some guidance. So whether it's a one-to-one session or a psychic fair, and you can see the body language when you're starting, and it's very rigid. The arms are folded, yes, no, they don't really want to talk to you. But actually, as the reading progresses, they kind of start to see something unfold.
They start leaning in and sort of, getting engaged, becoming more engaged. Yeah.
Totally. And then at the end, they're like so grateful that they've been pushed to have this reading. But because it's opened their minds, it's just lovely to see.
Wonderful. Well, we'd like to hear your other heartwarming story, most definitely, but we're going to take a break now. So maybe we can hear that after the break. How about that? Would you be able to tell us that after the break? Yeah, that would be lovely.
I'd love to share it.
Excellent. Right. Well, that's going to take us into the break now. We're hearing some great stuff from Julia Starr here, psychic tarot card reader, and we're going to catch up with more from her in part 2. So we'll see you after this.
This is Psychic Social, where the world's best psychics tell you their story.
Hi, hope you're enjoying the show today. Now, we have a brand new horoscope email you can subscribe to at psychic.co.uk. All you have to do is wait for the pop-up to show on the website and then enter your email and star sign, and every Sunday night we'll email you a free horoscope for the week ahead. Now, you can dive in one step further if you wish and take a look at our Horoscope Plus memberships. This is your weekly horoscope plus a lot more. There are 3 memberships to choose from, and we've covered all budgets, we feel. So the Robin membership gives you private, exclusive access to a more detailed horoscope on the member horoscope pages at the website, and a chance to win a psychic reading via Zoom each month. And you'll get a free access code as well to the taster version of our amazing video tarot course with Nikki Allen, 10-Hour Tarot. Now, this membership is just £1.99 per month, and you can cancel it anytime you like. There's a ton of stuff in there for such a small amount of money, so much value. The next membership we've got is the Feather membership. It's a step up from there, and it's just £5.99 per month, and you can also cancel anytime for that one too. Now, as a Feather member, you'll get a much more detailed, in-depth horoscope than the Robin membership horoscope. And on that Feather member horoscope page on the website, you'll get exclusive access to that with over 1,000 words of horoscope broken down into 3 sections. That's including romance, work and family. It really will give you a fantastic insight into the week ahead every single week. You'll also get our truly amazing astrology video. That's thrown in for free as well, which is 30 minutes of fantastic content on astrology. And as with the Robin membership, you'll also get a chance to win a psychic reading via Zoom every month too. So that's wonderful value in there as well for $5.99 a month for the Feather membership. And the final membership is the Angel member. That's the top level membership to access on the site. That gives you some amazing stuff, and all that info is on the website. Just head to psychic.co.uk/membership and take a look at which one will suit you. We'll put the link in the show notes of this podcast down below for you, so you can just click there and check them all out there. You can also check out the horoscope page and have a little sneak peek at what the Robin members are getting there already. That's at psychic.co.uk/horoscope. Right, now back to the show.
This is Psychic Social, the spiritual home of psychics.
Welcome back to part 2 of Psychic Social, and we're having our chat here with Julia Starr. She is a psychic tarot card reader. Now, Julia, continuing on from the last question that we asked you before the break, you said you had a couple of heartwarming stories. We heard the first one. We'd love to hear the second one. Can you tell us what that is, please?
Yes, of course. So this was when I'd been doing my readings professionally. I think it was probably about a couple of years in, and I had a young girl that came to my house, and we did quite a general reading. We used the Celtic cross spread, and it was starting to evolve that again, it was a work scenario. And what the cards were showing me, that there were going to be some changes or challenges. And what sort of has struck with me with this one, quite often in a card reading, Spirit will make me look at the actual title of the card. So in this instance, it was the 9 of Wands, which, you know, for your listeners that understand tarot and for those that don't, it's a card where there's a lots of frustration with work, but determination, perseverance will see you through. Now, it was being shown to me as a time frame. So the way that we teach time frames within our Faulkner course, 9 of Wands relates to 9 weeks. So I passed this information on, and she was a little bit wary, what is this going to mean? Is it going to mean I'm going to lose my job? Is there going to be some other changes within the role? Sometimes the cards and spirit don't want to give the whole story because obviously, everybody has their own free will. But for me, that 9 weeks that I was being drawn to on the 9 of Wands seemed incredibly significant. She went away, happy, maybe being a little bit cautious around the work area because I had highlighted a few things in the cards. And she didn't come back to me for about a year. And she basically said when she walked in, she said, "You were right." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, remind me," because, I read for so many people. And she said, "You were right about the job situation. There was an upset with it. I think she actually lost her job in 9 weeks and 1 day. However, the way it transpired, I think she got offered a better job within the company. So actually, yes, she probably left with a little bit of worry, a little bit of anxiety, but moving on the 9 weeks and the 1 day, it actually turned out to be the best conclusion for her. And, I think all readers will agree, when you get that feedback, even if it's a year later, it kind of feels good. And that's not ego-based. It's just nice to have the feedback. Another very quick story. Did a very simple reading, 3-card reading for somebody locally. And it was sort of autumn going into winter. And I was being made aware of butterflies. So I passed this on. She is very open to spirit, but she doesn't do cards or anything like that. And she messaged me literally 2 days later to say that a beautiful butterfly, I think it was a red admiral, had flown into her conservatory. And, when we talk about spiritual signs, particularly with the animal signs, butterflies are very much about transformation. And it was totally in reference to the 3-card reading that I'd given her.
Right, okay.
So it just warms my heart when they come back to you and say all this.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? It must be very satisfying for you and fulfilling for you.
It is. It's such a rewarding journey to be on because it's not a job for me.
Right, sure.
This is something I know I'm going to continue.
It's your passion.
I've always been about helping people, whether it was through the children, working with the health visitors I've done for a while. But now, with the teaching, with the readings, this is my life and I love it.
Great. Well, that's fantastic to have your passion that you're doing for a living, isn't it? Were there any sort of, conversely, any sort of funny stories that you can remember from any of your readings that sort of made you laugh? Or
there probably were. I mean, you get laughter, you get sadness tears, you get happy tears. There's just so many. It's very hard to pinpoint a funny one that sticks in my mind.
Right, okay. We'll move on to the next question then, no worries. What we ask all our guests as well when they come on the show is we'd really like to know what their thoughts and feelings about the afterlife were and what their take was on it and what happens after we leave Earth. Okay,
so my belief, my feeling on this is that, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So, even before we come into, say, our current human body, we've already been in spirit. And, I think with reincarnation, my belief is you have the decision to make about how many times you want to evolve. And obviously, when we come into the life, say, that we're currently in, the blueprint of our lives has already been decided before we sort of start our life on Earth, if that makes sense. So, all of life's experiences, whether they're good, bad, indifferent, we're kind of down here to learn lessons. And my belief is that, for those of us that decide to come back time and time again, it's because we want to experience or learn some other lessons. Now, some of the listeners are probably going to say, but what about all the bad stuff that happens? Why would you agree to that? And my feeling is on that, sometimes these bad things happen because we've gone off track. But, again, it's all about life's experiences. And I'm a great believer, particularly with the life I've had, that everything does make you stronger. You often hear the saying, don't you, about, children being old souls. And, I've got a couple of friends who have got little boys. I think one's 6, the other's probably going on 10 or 11 now. And ironically, it's the things, the sentences, the phrases that they come out with, which makes you think they've been here before. And what's really interesting about this is, I've just, probably about a month ago, I started reading a book that was actually based on our journey as souls. And in this book, it kind of talks about that there are kind of like 5 stages you can go through. So you kind of start from the very beginning. I'm just trying to think what it was now without looking. So yeah, you've got the infant soul, then you go into the baby soul, the young soul, the mature soul, and then the old soul. And the person that wrote this book talks about that, all of these stages are kind of like maybe the 5 stages or the 5 opportunities to come back. So, the children that I spoke about a minute ago, maybe this is their last time on Earth.
This is exactly what I was just about to ask you. At what point does, in all these existences that we choose to have on Earth, potentially, do we go, right, this is going to be my last one? And does that happen through some sort of level of, like, quote unquote, awakening in that existence where you go, hang on a minute, I'm not just some sheep who's just going to and from work every day and just asleep, in my life, in my existence on Earth. Would you say that's how it kind of works? Do you have like an awakening as such as a spirit inside you as a human being in that carnation, or do you think that's?
I think you would, as say, I've had past life experiences. I've done a lot of meditation, so I know I've been here before. But I think for all of these spiritual beings having the current human experience, it's personal choice how many times you want to come down and evolve. There are probably going to be people out there that disagree with the things that I've just mentioned about the cycles, because there's just so much information. But I personally believe it's about wanting to achieve those life experiences. So my life experiences in a nutshell: parents divorced, I got pregnant with twins, unplanned, then got married. The marriage ended. I've been a single mum for 10 years. And, for the last 4 years, I've actually been with somebody that I've known since I was a child.
Right, okay.
So through all of those experiences, I've gained so much life experience, which also, as a reader, helps me to have that empathy and that compassion for when my clients come in. Okay. And you often get that sense of like attracts like. So the right people will come to me because we've had a similar experience at some point or another.
So as a being, should I say, in spirit, you then choose what your earthly experience, your human experience is going to be each time. And it's more just for a sense of just to come down, learn, and then go back up and then decide whether you've learned enough or not. So it's not really a sense of having a light bulb awakening moment as a human being in a particular incarnation. It's more of a case of it's being steered from the spirit world by yourself through different existences. Is that?
Yeah, that's my belief.
Right, okay.
Because, we all know, you hear the word blueprint and, everything that happens to us has already been decided.
Sure.
I mean, you could go so deep with that conversation. You could start to look at the Akashic records, etc., etc. But yeah, the simple way is we're spiritual beings. We decide how many times we want to come down into Earth. and, you know, the lessons that we want to experience, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent.
Well, it's that sort of when I say theory, but that sort of statement from psychics seems to be a common thing that we're having on the show, where, you know, like they're saying that you choose your blueprint, you come down, and if you're kind of veering off it, you'll get steered back on to the right path and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very interesting to hear everyone's take, but there always seems to be a common sort of theme running through.
Definitely. I mean, I also know that, you know, if somebody of an elderly age has died, my belief is they can choose what age they actually want to be in spirit. So I don't know if you've heard that before.
I think I have, yeah.
I know from organising mediumship evenings and attending them, quite often they will come forward to the medium, but maybe they're going to be in their 30s, you know, young, fit, healthy, suited and booted, and, you know, maybe not the person that went to spirit.
Right.
But as I say, it's there's so much that comes through from the spirit world. It's amazing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could obviously talk about this for hours, and maybe we can do a part 2 with you on your take on all of that, and
I'd love to
go even deeper. But for now, I think we're going to probably leave the deep stuff there, and we're going to sort of move on to the more vacuous sort of day-to-day stuff, shall we say, and ask you. Obviously, you mentioned a book that you read. Is that a book you read recently, or the book you mentioned a few minutes ago?
I'm dreadful. If it's a bit like workshops and courses, if something jumps out to me, I grab it. So it had been on my Kindle for quite some time, but I actually started reading it probably about a month ago. I tend to dip in and out of a lot of books, particularly the more spiritual ones, because, you know, they are quite a heavy read sometimes.
Okay. Can you let the listeners know what the book was called?
Yeah, it is called, I'm just trying to find it quickly, The Journey of Souls.
Right.
And it's a case study of life between lives. So it really focuses on the reincarnation and exactly what we've been talking about.
Right.
And the author of the book is a man called Michael Newton.
Right. Well, I'll put that all in the show notes for the list.
He's a hypnotherapist.
Right. Okay. No worries. Well, I'll put all that in the show notes and I'll put a link to it in the show notes on the website. So anyone that wants to go and have a look at that book and potentially buy it, they can do.
Lovely.
Yes. Thank you for that. And so, what about box sets? Is there anything that's catching your eye on TV or on Netflix or any other streaming platform?
I'm terrible. If I find something I like, I binge watch the whole season.
Right. Okay.
So recently I've done season 3 of Grace and Frankie, which is a very upbeat, almost comedy, but light-hearted program, 30-minute program. I also like all my soaps, so you'll get me watching EastEnders and Neighbours and things like that every day. Other box sets, I'm watching Designated Survivor with my partner. I've already watched all 3 seasons, but I thought he would like it. So we started doing that. I like sort of Twilight, the Divergent series, The Crown, Killing Eve, Suits. My watching ability is very, very varied. So the stuff that I watch on my own is definitely more feminine.
Okay, sure.
But when I see my partner at the weekends, it's Hawaii 5-0, it's Magnum, it's the action pack.
He's ejecting a bit of testosterone into your viewing. Yeah.
Definitely, although I can't complain because I do enjoy them. But, you know, he would not sit through the soaps or any of these housewife programs, Housewives of New York or whatever.
I think a lot of men might not as well.
It's light-hearted and yes, it's out of this world crazy, the lives. but sometimes you need a gentle release from your own.
Sure, exactly. Totally get that, sure. Now, Julia is doing something fantastic for us today. She is going to be giving away a full free tarot card reading for us. Very, very kind of you, Julia. Now, all you have to do to win this tarot card reading with Julia is to review our podcast on iTunes, on the Apple Podcast app as well. So all you have to do is go there, find Psychic Social, give us a great review if you've enjoyed the show, and then email us at support@psychic.co.uk. That's support@psychic.co.uk, and tell us that you left a review. Give us your username, and we will pick people from random, and we will get you that fantastic free reading from Julia. So Julia, tell us a bit more about that in terms of the reading. It's a tarot card reading.
So yes, it would be a tarot card reading. We can do it online via Messenger or Skype, whatever the client has. And, we can go in a few different ways. Some people just want a general reading to see what's coming up. But there might be others that have got maybe a couple of situations they would like me to look into. So, I never specify you've got to have this kind of reading. It's a very personal choice. The time frame is probably, as you said, 45 to 60 minutes. And it may also be, depending on what I'm sort of drawn to take into the reading, we might cover some numerology, maybe some of the astrological energies that are currently influencing us at the moment. You just never know where it's going to take you.
Well, it's wonderful. Thank you so much for doing that today for the listeners at Psychic Social. I'm sure someone is going to be very appreciative of that. So yeah, like we say, please leave us a review on the Apple Podcasts section where Psychic Social is, and you could be in the chance of winning that lovely, fantastic reading with Julia. And the closing date for that is going to be Saturday the 14th of March. So you've got 2 weeks from the date of the release of the podcast, which is on the 29th of February. Well, it's been wonderful to have you on the show today, Julia, on Psychic Social. Before we let you go, can you tell people where they can find you, the best ways to get in contact with you? So your website, social media, etc.?
Absolutely. So on Facebook, you can find me on Julia Star, which is my public profile page. I also have a business page on Facebook called Shining Star Holistics. The star has 2 R's on it, just to be different. And I'm also on Instagram, and you can find me on there, Julia Star with 2 R's Blake. And my website is Shining Star Holistics, again 2 R's, .simple, which is simpl.com. But the website details are on the business page if people don't grasp it on the podcast.
Great, that's no worries. I'll put that in the show notes as well. So that'll be in text form on the show notes as well. So people can read that. And is there anything, your sort of merchandise you're selling, anything like that at the moment? Or
So at the moment, I have availability if anybody wants to learn the tarot. It's a 12-week course, so if anybody is interested in that, please send me a message. I have a lot of email sort of specific type readings on the website, on the shop page. And the one thing that I've recently started in the last month or two is a spiritual online circle on Facebook, which kind of looks at the astrological energies. So the most obvious ones every month are the full moon, the new moon. At the moment, we're in Mercury retrograde, but you also get your Horoscopes in the circle. You get a weekly card, interactive reading, and so much more. If anybody wants to talk to me a little bit more about that, please send me a message. You will see posts on Facebook supporting all of this. And, I can direct you and help you in any way that I can.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Yeah. So don't hesitate to get in touch, guys. Like we say, all of this will be in the show notes. So yeah, get in touch with Julia and let us know how you get on. Send us an email and let us know how you get on, or get in touch via Facebook at psychic.co.uk. Well, as I say, it's been fantastic to have you on, Julia, today. And thank you very much. And we look forward to hopefully catching up with you again at some point in the near future. Like we said earlier, with potentially a part 2. So that would be fantastic if we could do that.
I would love to. It's been so enjoyable. So thank you for having me.
It's been great to have you on. Thank you, Julia. Take care now.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks for joining us on Psychic Social from psychic.co.uk, the spiritual home of psychics.